was at night and I was just leaving from a bar and I had gotten into an argument with someone. I kind of get like this eerie feeling that like I'm being watched. As I'm walking, I hear footsteps behind me. I continue walking. I'm trying to keep my breath steady. And all I could see is the lit cigarette that he is taking and puffing out of and putting to his side. Maybe I should just run to my car and just get out.
You've taught your children to be polite and friendly, but have you taught them when not to be?
Hi there. Do you live around here?
Uh-huh.
You going to school?
Yes.
Well, I could give you a ride.
In the past, abductions were white vans, stranger danger, and laced candy. However, it has evolved along with us and our technology as the new threat is within our phones and social media. With this in mind, it's easy to wonder whether the past methods are still relevant.
Usually the most common approach is a ruse approach. If you take into consideration people like Ted Bundy, who was a known serial killer who abducted his victims, he used a ruse. He always pretended like he was hurt or needed some kind of assistance and would lure his victim away and then abduct him into their vehicle.
I would say nowadays it's actually probably for the sex trade. I mean, I'm sure a lot of it is for rape or, you know, I call them crimes of opportunity. You see a young lady walking by herself, you know, it's just that gratification, it's a one-time thing and it's done. But the big thing now is the sex trade.
In 2024, 6,647 victims were placed into the sex trade. One myth is that human trafficking is always a violent crime. In actuality, it is more psychological, using tactics like tricks, manipulation, or threatening victims with the sex or labor trade. The next myth is that traffickers target victims they don't know. The reality is that most victims actually know and trust their trafficker, like a family member or friend. Many involve the trafficker building relationships with the victim on social media to earn their trust before taking them.
Usually it's going to be a little bit more secluded, but we have had instances where abductors have taken children and or adults in broad daylight. So it really just depends on the comfort level of the offender.
I think everybody thinks that it can't happen to them. That's probably my biggest thing. And I see that here at the university all the time. You know, that happens in Atlanta or that happens, you know, wherever. Well, no, it don't just happen there. It could very easily happen here.
Crimes occur all over the country, even in the smallest of towns. While the chances of abduction occurring in a small town is less than in a big city, it doesn't mean it's impossible, especially with the creation and development of social media.
Times have changed. People are meaner. They're coming up with more tactics as to how to lure people away. They have social media now. Whenever I was a kid, we had to use a payphone. People your age, they've got everything they need right there in their hand on their cell phone.
There was one day that I came and I parked in the school parking lot and went to classes like normal that day, and I had came back to my car and I noticed that there was a zip tie on my rim, and I was just like, this is a bit odd.
You may have seen it on social media platforms like TikTok. A person reports coming back to their car with a zip tie like this on their door handle. It's believed that human traffickers are doing this to identify if someone is alone, marking them as a target.
A disturbing trend being shared on social media has apparently made its way to Albuquerque.
It centers around zip ties and human trafficking.
After running errands all day, I found this zip tie on my car.
They're trying to get you to get out of your car and grab the money. If you see this, you need to get in your car some other way.
I was like searching up the zip tie and what it could mean, and it had popped up as a sex trafficking thing.
Because of the social media scare involving the different human trafficking methods like the zip ties, there have been questions about what's real or fake. Another myth is that zip ties, white vans, and marked windows are used to target victims. However, no cases of zip ties being used to mark a vulnerable target have been found since 2015.
Eventually, I did find out that it was a prank that a kid had pulled on me, and he didn't know that that's what that meant, but it took a very serious route very quickly. And ever since like that day, like that whole zip tie thing, I would go around, check on my tires, check for air tags and stuff, because it's just like, it's a fear, like an ultimate fear.
San Diego ranks among the top cities in the country for human trafficking. The victims are often minors that are lured away from home.
The survivor that we spoke to was in tonight's meeting. She says it's not like stranger danger. She actually met her perpetrator when she was 14 years old at a mall, hanging out with her friends. He love bombed her for months, and when she trusted him, he sold her.
If it's like an internet type abduction, what we'll see is we'll see that pattern of engaging in the conversation with the victim and like applying some of the talk that like makes them really express their vulnerabilities, and then they just exploit them.
The last myth is that only women and girls can be victims and survivors of sex trafficking. There are multiple cases of men and boys being abducted, with the most vulnerable being young men and LGBTQ boys. In 2024 alone, there were 1,972 male victims. Many of these victims were likely sent into the sex trade, as it takes place in plain sight. The sex trade often occurs in places like the spa or massage parlors, hotels, and strip clubs.
They're preying on the people that don't have a lot of friends. They're just looking for the weaker people in the community, people that are kind of reclusive. They don't have a lot of friends, and that person is just desperate to have a friend.
Social media is a tool of deception that allures people into a variety of situations. When combined with the in-person methods used, one question arises: how do you even stay safe when there's so much to look out for?
Always be alert, because especially with young people, you don't know what's out there. You don't know who's watching you. You don't know who's trying to get a hold of you on social media. I know everybody needs friends, but you don't need the friends that you're going to meet on social media.
Again, just being aware of your surroundings, knowing the people that you're associating with, right? If you find that you feel like you're being followed or you feel like something suspicious is going on, always report it. The worst that can happen is that it's just nothing, right? A lot of times too, we'll have some stalking type behaviors occur before an abduction. So if you feel like there's a stalking situation going on, right, report that to the police. And just first and foremost, just always be cognizant of where you are and who you're with.
I did make it to my car, but it was still the fact of like someone followed me and they were going to, do something, which is terrifying.